Who are you right now? I'm sitting in a $1 billion chair. How would that person talk? How would that person coach? How would that person treat his employee? How would that person do in that exact moment? How does that person do?
Stop what you're doing and start executing on what you want to do in your future and seek God.
If you're working for somewhere right now, be the best at that. Because when you eventually own your own business, how do you want your employees, how do you want your team to work for you?
Success doesn't show up just because you want it. Success shows up when you put in the effort and with consistency.
That's why I say all the time, I'm like, why are you waiting? Go get it. It's all about execution.
I'm gonna say that again, you can't have a $1 billion dream with a minimum wage habit. So get out what you're doing. I don't call people out, but I call people up for what God has called you to be. Welcome back to the Young CEO podcast. Today, I got an amazing episode. I got a guy down. He's only 21 years old. It's going to be an amazing episode. You want to stay till the end because we're going to be giving some epic content today. Reese, all the way from Arkansas, welcome to the Young CEO podcast. Glad to have you on the podcast. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and the people that are listening. If you're 21 or if you're 25, even 40 years old, you want to listen in this because we're going to be dropping some bombs here today. Tell them, Reese.
Man, just from Texarkana and moved up to Searcy. Went to college up there, played football. Now I'm fixing to graduate in May. And my whole life, my parents have just raised me to go harder every single day. Get a little bit more. I've just been raised that way. And my parents, they work 9 to 5. And I just see them working so hard every single day. And I don't want to live that lifestyle, you know. I just have a different mindset. I look at, when I drive down the road, I see buildings to my left or my right. I'm like, who owns those buildings?
Yeah.
And who operates those buildings? They're not there every day. So what's going to happen?
Right.
You know, and I don't want to be at a building every day. You know, obviously y'all got a successful business.
Mm-hmm.
And so scaling up to that successful business.
Yeah.
Is where I want to be.
That's awesome. And how old are you?
I just turned 21 3 days ago.
Just turned 21. So today I want to talk about, so a lot of people, you know, I talked a little bit before the episode, I talked about the springtime, summertime, fall, and wintertime. You're 21 years old. Why this mindset? You came in, you're wanting to do a whole development, you're wanting to actually do it, and you're actually like, you got to take some action, right? In order for you, there's dreams that you can have, but without a dream, without a wishful, like action, like if you don't take action on a dream, it's just wishful thinking. Like talk about that. Like why you're 21 years old, like you got, like most people would say, you got all your life ahead of you. Like, why now?
Why not? You know, I think the best ideas are in graveyards.
Mm-hmm.
And execution is my number one thing. If I'm not executing every single day to perform at a high level, just like some uneventful things that happened for y'all recently, you never know when it's your last moment in your life. And just being present in life has been real big for me here lately. And just every single day trying to get a little bit better, looking for ideas, looking for opportunities, seeking opportunities. Mm-hmm. And if I can develop that now, what will it be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now?
Mm-hmm. What you're planting today.
Right now.
Yeah, because there's a saying, like for a bamboo tree, once you plant it, a lot of times people think that when you plant a seed, they feel like it's buried, but it's actually was planted. So in order for, when you plant a bamboo, it sits in the dark for 3 years, and then after that 3 years, in 2 weeks, that thing is at full growth, right? So a lot of people, when you get planted, some people think that they're buried. So I love that mindset. You're 21 years old. You've kind of broken away from your parents. Like they're living the 9 to 5, but you don't want that. I mean, we were in the back, we were looking at everything, but your mindset is, I want to be around. You were talking about Myron Golden. You're talking about the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the books you're reading. A lot of the people that are listening to this right now, you know, you're our age. I'm 26, you're 21. I'm an 8th grade dropout, dropped out of school, had no GED, no diploma, bro, like nothing. And I'm here to show people like, dude, it's possible.
Yeah.
Like anything is possible when you put action behind it, right? A lot of people can say, hey, I'm going to do this, but actually, do you have the action, and how are you going to do it? Right.
Absolutely. I think mentorship's key.
Mhm.
You got to be around people who've done it, who've experienced it, who's been through it, because that'll just fast forward your future so much faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I mean, I'm listening to a book right now, Made in America by Sam Walton. And if you can, he says, I mean, he wanted to restore retail stores every single day to scale Walmart. He started at 44 years old. And one thing I've taken away from his book is he says, all of my ideas were borrowed.
Mm-hmm.
They were never mine. I borrowed those ideas. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Being around people like y'all and just listening to people. I mean, I don't listen to music anymore hardly. I mean, I love country music, but I listen to books instead. And it's one of those things where who can I be 5 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
And just borrow ideas from y'all, picking y'all's brains.
Mm-hmm. So tell the audience, like, who are you? Like, were you like growing up, school, like up to this point, like, who are you?
Well, I'm from Texarkana. Played soccer my whole life. Ended up playing football in 8th grade and just fell in love with it. And dude, I got up to the facility every single day at 5:30. I beat all the coaches there. I'll do treatment, do a devotional every single day before people started walking in the door. And I even did that in off season. And I just love that because I'm getting an edge on someone. I'm up and I've already done a workout, done a devotional, done my treatment before anyone else got there. And ever since I got done playing football in college, I've just kind of carried that over into regular day life. I mean, when I get home, all my roommates are asleep. When I wake up, all of them are asleep. And so I'm getting that edge on people that no one else is actually realizing. And I want to bring people along because I think that's how you help others in life.
Absolutely.
And that's what God wants you to do, is to bring others along.
Yeah. How important, like, keeping your edge, talk a little bit more about, like, how important is it, like, to wake up, you're showing up before people, you're doing your devotions. I'm guessing you're a believer, you believe in God, having that in your life. How important is that?
Man,
For sure, for a younger person.
I trust in God.
Yeah.
I got faith in God. I think God is the Bible is the book of life.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches you so many things that are just so true in every aspect of life. I could compare one verse to almost any aspect of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think you can't do it without him.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's really good. The Bible is our road atlas. It's our map. Like you said,
Principles.
The principles that are in the Bible is that's all we need.
Yeah.
And it's so incredible when 3 weeks ago, he's a mentor and one of our best friends, just right here local, when he called me and told me about you. And he was like, hey, he's like y'all. He wants to be around, what they say, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you took action in less than 2 weeks and now you're here shooting a podcast with us tells me and shows me that you're consistent and your dedication will take you places, because you're actually willing to take that next step into taking action on what your goals and dreams are.
Yeah. Man, the way I look at it is you see so many people along the way, but you'll have those few friends that will always be there that really bring no value in your life, that they're just good friends.
Yeah.
And then you'll have those friends that bring value to your life and you bring value to their lives and y'all can do business together.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the Bible, it also talks about, entrepreneurial.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so many entrepreneurial ways in the Bible. How to live life, how to sacrifice things for your family and just go out there and risk things. But it's all about how you speak to others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Your communication, which you said, a good book for communication, Dale Carnegie's How to Win and Influence Friends. And then Byron Golden, which he's good on the King Solomon, the Proverbs and all that about, building a business. It's all about the principles, right? The Bible teaches you all the different principles, how Solomon, like how he became wealthy. And I think if you follow that and you're trying to, I see a lot of people, for sure, if you're 21, I remember like when I was 20 years old, like when I started this business, all I wanted to do was chase money. Like I was sick and tired of making $250 a week. I was tired of making $50 a day. And I'm like, how can I get like around better people? How can I actually get out to where I can do what this other business is doing? Because you'll be scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or wherever and be like, hey, if he can do it, so can I. right? If he like, why can't he have it if I can't? Like, and it's that dedication. You said it, consistency. If you're not consistent in your daily life, like right now in this second, are you consistent in anything that you do? It might be going to the gym. It might be, and I'm calling people up right now that you might be 18 years old and you're like, hey, it's not important right now. I just want to live. I want to live my life right now. It's not important. But that's where I talk about springtime. Springtime is from the day you were born till you're 20 to 25 years old. That's the most important days of your life, is because that's the time where you need to sow the seed. You need to put the seed in the ground to where you have summertime, you have fall, and then you have wintertime. Wintertime is when you get 60 to 80 years old or 100 years old and you really can't work anymore. Yeah. But all over that time, you've built the investments. You have invested in, I know your uncles, and we do a lot of business with them in the life insurance. That's the number one thing that I got into when I started investing. I started investing in life insurance policies. Then I got into real estate, so going all the way back, like, why do you have that? I mean, you're 21 years old. Like, you're in here, you're talking about these developments. You're talking about all these things you want to do. You want to, you have big aspirations, big dreams. Like, talking to someone else that's 20, like, go back to the day that you said, hey, I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be different. Talk about because that's the person right now that they might still be at school. They might be just getting out of college. They might be 28 years old. Talk to that person. Tell him that it's not too late. It's time to get your act right, and actually build a life.
Yeah. I mean, the best time to start is right now. Not 2 days from now. It's right now. I mean, I've been in college. I'm still in college. I'm fixing to graduate. And I mean, I'm not going to say I haven't drank alcohol before. And when I wake up the next day, I feel horrible. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just weighs you down. It doesn't do anything for you, really. And just doing things that build your life in a way. And I mean, you look at things that help your life and don't help your life, like food, for example, that we were talking about that before the show.
It's a big shame.
Just eating things that fuel your brain, fuel your mind, instead of just weighing you down and making you feel sluggish.
Right.
And just getting that edge on people that we were talking about at the beginning. I mean, anyone can do it. It's possible for anybody, but it takes a long time to develop a mindset, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. You didn't even graduate high school, bro, and look at what you got. I'm walking around looking at what you're trying to serve me and do for me and my partners. I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah. And so how did you come from where you're at and develop a mindset to where you are right now and scale so quickly? I mean, both of y'all.
First, I would have to say I got to give glory to God, because without God, we used to not be. We always grew up in the church. We always grew up with that mindset. Hey, I knew who God was, but I really didn't have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
I didn't build a Christ Center company. 3 years ago, we sat down and we went all over our core values, and we created our core values. Our number one core value is Christ centered, and we really wanted to make an impact in our community. But I think the first thing that I remember sitting in Mexico with one of my coaches. One of my coaches, it was the first one that I paid $100,000. And at the time, that's a lot of money. And I was at an event, and I said, hey, what's the one thing that I need to change in order for me to go to the next level? She said, drop the ego. And I'm like, at that moment, I was like, what do you mean? Like, I gotta have you gotta have a little bit of ego to grow a business. And I'm chasing the money, and I'm like, but we're doing good. I mean, that year we hit 7.8 million. I mean, I was young. I'm like, dude, this is what do you mean? And so kept on going. And then 3-4 months later, I'm like, okay, now I know exactly what she means. I'm not more important than anybody. I'm not the most important person in there. It's your team. How are you developing you? And then how are you helping and impacting your team? So if it's the only person you're helping in the deal is you, then what is it all about? Because at the end of the day, you're going to burn out. Oh, or are you actually here to make an impact? And I can tell you, right now, we have over 110 employees. I'm here for impact. I'm here for, how do we change our team? How do we get our team to think the same that we do?
Yeah.
How do we live a life of peace and profits? How do we build a business that is building a business for the kingdom? That's all I'm here for. I'm helping build the we were on the call, and you guys can't see him behind the camera, but Zeke, he manages a VA team, a virtual assistant team, over 30 people in the Philippines, bro. And these guys, we haven't even given them our Saddlebrook Army t-shirts. And I get on the call yesterday, and I'm blown away. He's like, hey, I can't remember what her name was. He's like, hey, can you pray for her? can you pray for the whole like before we get our meeting started? So before we go into a meeting, we pray. And dude, we got people in the Philippines like praying, and like we're making such an impact
That's
that
freaking-
they're following God, and they're like, and they're reading, like Zeke opens it up and said, hey, the Bible verse of the day is 2 Timothy 1:7, and then they'll like start explaining it. Like most company business owners could look at that and be like, dude, you're like wasting 15 minutes of everybody's day by doing that. But we're not. It's bigger than us.
yeah.
It's
No
it's
doubt.
it's about the team. It's about how much impact can we make, and it's just been awesome. Like I can't like, and he could talk about like God's been so big, even in the last 6 months. What God has been doing inside of our business and like customer, like it's honestly like it's been mind blowing. Like I can't take the credit because it's not us. Like dude, 12 months ago, back when I first got a coach, I couldn't speak. Like we didn't know how to do any of this podcast stuff. We didn't know how to do that. And now our social media blows up. We get Saddlebricks. It gets what Zeke like 10 million views a month, and it's growing, and that's all done with the team, right? I'm not the person with the GED, but I put myself around people that have GEDs. You don't have to be a person that knows it all. You just have to put yourself around the right people that get you where you want to go. You don't have to know it all. And that's the biggest thing that I would tell anybody is you don't have to be the person that knows it all. You just have to be the guy that puts everything together and puts the team together and says, hey, how do we do this? Let's go.
And it goes back to, you know, being in your shoes and you're getting, you know, you're just jumping into this and you're taking a big leap. It goes back to all of us even is, well, you know, you got to really sit down and figure out what's your why. What's your purpose behind this? What are you really wanting to impact, starting with your own life? Once we did that, and now we use that aspect in a team and our whole company, and now it just opens the kingdom up for God to bring so many more people around us that have that same mindset. You might be 18, you might be 20, you might be 35. It doesn't matter. But it's having God in your life and knowing what your purpose is and why behind that. That's what's going to lead God to bring those kingdom mindset people around you that want to grow with you, want to grow the kingdom with you. That's when the doors open up and there's no limits.
Yep.
Sky's the limit. It's amazing how God will just, you know, it's the small things that you do behind the doors, behind scenes.
They say do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Absolutely. And that verse is so powerful that honestly, that's what determines.
That Dale Carnegie says that's the golden rule. And I just think about that all the time because how would I want someone to act to me? And I should act that way to them. And I would like to think I'm a decent guy, you know, but I think what you said is so key. Pride before the fall is how most people fell.
Mm-hmm.
And I just never like working for the man because I've worked for the man and I'm like, dude, I'm wasting my time making someone else money. Like, why am I working here? Why am I making someone else money right now? I could be doing it on my own. You know, I could make $500 on one job and now supplement 40 hours of work in one week. I mean,
yeah,
it's I mean, it just doesn't make, you could work 3 or 4 hours, make $500, or work 40 hours and make $500. And it's just like, I don't want to help someone else build their business, which I'm sure it's nice for them, but I want to help build my own business and have God work through me on the others like y'all are doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm looking at all the, like, and I didn't seek mentorship till not long ago, like 3 or 4 months ago. And I've started, over the past couple of years, I've just kind of shook small business owners' hands that you can tell that they're successful, but not as successful as some other people I've met along the way. And the difference that I see between them is ego and pride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very good. One thing that I've learned and kind of put into aspect is I've learned is, you know, giving is a huge thing to God. He wants you to be aware and humble that everything that he's providing for you and giving opportunities to you, it's still all his. I looked at, I think it was E.T., one of the mentors that I went to. He's very good. He said, don't save your money after you spend it, but save after you spend, or spend after you save. first give God his money back, and then he's always going to bless you with 100-fold.
Amen. Amen. I was in a church service, I think 3 weeks ago, and the pastor talked about there was a tree and there were apples, and he took an apple off a tree, and he started giving an example of, what about if you took this from God, and like the apple is $20, for example, let's say $20. And then you say, okay, I want $5 back, take a bite out of the apple. Or I want $5 back, take a bite out of the apple. And then you end up giving no money to God, but he's the reason I can step out of bed every day, breathe, have breath in my lungs. And ever since that sermon, dude, and it's not it wasn't 3 weeks ago, so I've been doing it for the past 3 months, but I started donating to the church $20-$40 every week, and it's changed my complete mindset. Just giving back to the church, because Jesus is what has given us the opportunity to just be able to live life the way that anyone can live. It's just a choice. There's so many choices in life that you make.
Yeah, it's God. Sometimes, you have this vision, you have this mission, you have this dream that you want to do, but sometimes God takes you down a different road that you weren't expecting. But it's where he planted you, not where he buried you. And sometimes God puts you in businesses for you to learn what he's going to teach you before he gives it to you, right? Sometimes there's a door that's closed, but he's not ready to give you that opportunity because you wouldn't be able to handle it. So sometimes I don't look at people because I worked for, for my dad, my aunt, I work for people. But the lessons, now going back, the lessons I learned about what not to do are valuable. Like, you can't buy them. Right. So I look at, if I would go to Walmart and I'd work on an aisle, I'd be the best aisle worker there ever was because of my mindset.
The best at what you do.
I'm going to be the best at what I do, because not only it's how you do the little things is how you do everything. The mindset and attitude that I have, would I want that attitude if I worked for someone else? If would I want that my employees to have the same mindset as I did working for someone? That mindset where I don't want to be here. Because me personally, I don't like people that work for me that don't want to be here, right? So if I'm working for someone, and this is for someone right now, I feel like there's someone that's going to be listening to this. If you're working for someone right now, be the best at that. Because when you eventually own your own business, how do you want your employees, how do you want your team to work for you? How does that mindset look like?
I think it's so hard to do.
It is.
Because you're like, okay, I'm going to be the best I can be at my job every day. And you do that for a week and you don't see anything change. The coworkers are acting the same, but you're still trying to be the best worker there is. And then it could be that day on the second week, that first day on the second week, that changes everything. You never know. Just bringing your best every day, being the best at what you can do every day. I mean, you'll never have any regrets doing it like that. So I guess I want to ask for myself. I mean, I don't have a lot of money in the bank, but how do I get to a place where I'm in right now to where I want to be 2-3 years from now?
I've got one thing I want to say there. So on that, it's great, is one thing I've learned is, and this is to the person out there that's in that same position, is success doesn't show up just because you want it. Success shows up when you put in the effort and with consistency. That's when you're going to start seeing those results. Is don't always look at, and back to ego. You're looking at that prize. Don't focus on the prize, focus on the process. That's when you have your processes in place. Now we have all these people that, 110 employees, you got all these processes in place. God's always going to bring the prize. I think so many people out there always are looking at that dollar. They're chasing the dollar. They're chasing the prize because that's what you can see. But they don't never look and see the process.
Yeah.
That it actually takes. The people consistent. Once you get consistent with intentional efforts, that's when the prize shows up.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, the biggest thing is if you chase the money, it keeps flying away. But if you make you better, you start attracting it. So money is energy. Money comes to people that are not focused on the money, but becoming the better. Like, who do you become in the process? Right? There's a lot of marriages that fall apart because they keep chasing the business. They keep chasing the money. And what happens? Big egos, big prides and all that. And then everything else fails. But business is about relationships. Business is about who do you become in the process that builds you up so God can give you more capacity. God is not going to give you something that he doesn't know that you can steward. So how are you stewarding what you have now? Because if you can't save when you're making 1,000, how will you ever make it when you make 1,000,000? How will you ever save? Right? God gives you the blessing when you're prepared for it. Because most people, and here's the biggest thing, most people quit because right at the time of their breakthrough, because it got too hard. Because they feel like they got buried, because they feel like it got dirt, they got buried in the dirt. It's muddy. They're about to lose everything. The business is falling apart. Their idea wasn't good. It's 2 lawsuits. You just started a new business. You got 3 lawsuits coming in. You got people that think that your business is not good. Those are the moments that define you, who you are as a human being. And can you handle it? Can you go through that process? Who do you become in that process? Because when you can build up that person that can take that, and God's going to be like, hey, open up his capacity. Because what used to be a window is now a door. Because sometimes closed doors have to close, and then the window you keep looking at God already sees that. That window will turn into a door. So become who you want to be in 5 years right now.
Mm-hmm.
How does that person look like? If you want to have 10 million in the bank, how does that $10 million person show up to his business? How does he talk to his employees? How does he show up and give to the church? What kind of person is he when he goes to a restaurant and is he making impact, or is he the guy that just walks in, he doesn't care about nobody? Who are you right now? Who is the $1 million person? You're sitting in a $1 million chair right now, right? I look at everywhere I'm sitting in a $1 billion chair. How would that person talk? How would that person coach? How would that person treat his employee? How would that person do in that exact moment? How does that person do? And sometimes, dude, I'm like, I don't even know. And that's when I got to stop. You got to pause. First, you got to, like, if you're in a situation where you're like, I don't know what to do next. I don't run to man, I run to God. And I'm like, I pause and I pray. Pause, reflect. I reflect on everything that's going on. And I drop. Pause, reflect, ask. I say, hey, God, I don't know what to do in this case. What do you want me to do? And most times I'll get an answer.
Yeah.
And then I'll yield to what he is telling me to do. And a lot of times you got to drop the ego in that time. You got to drop your emotions, because making a decision when you have high ego and high emotion that's normally when people make the wrong decision, because they just make it fast. And that's one of my biggest things that I'm having to work through. Right?
It's crazy you say that, because yesterday I was renovating a house, and I was talking to my coworker, and I was like, dude, I was pissed off. I didn't know what to do. I'm like, dude, I think I could be doing something bigger. Like, I don't think this is just not enough. And I was pissed off. I was complaining to him, and I shouldn't be complaining, And he's like, Reese, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And then he got a phone call, and he said, oh, let's run down to this job real quick. And we run down to that job, and it ends up being a $30,000 deal. Just crazy. And I went from nothing to a $30,000 deal that quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it all goes back to the process, like y'all were talking about, just being who you want to be, even when people aren't looking. Integrity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, integrity is huge for me. You said you were making $7 million in sales, and then you went to a mentor, and the first thing she said was no pride.
Mm-hmm. That got me over that. And that year, 9 months, we went from 7 to 13 million in 9 months.
And you're probably like, what else can I do? What else can I do?
I got to get better. I got to have a better mindset. I got to have all this. A lot of times God's not God. You think you're waiting on God, but God's waiting on you.
That's so true. That's so
That's
true.
like, I hear so many people that, hey, I'm waiting for my breakthrough. I'm just waiting for that next thing to hit. I'm waiting for this next job to hit. I'm just waiting for that. I'm just waiting. What are you waiting on?
That's why I say all the time, I'm like, why are you waiting? Go get it. It's all about execution.
Mm-hmm.
God wants the best for you in life, but it's all about what you do to receive that best thing in life.
Yeah. Dude, God's been, it's crazy when you put God first and you act, and you truly do. And you live Christ-centered, and you put God first, your life can completely change. And so I think, I believe the world needs more people that step out in their faith, step out and say, hey, I give God all the glory and honor for everything that I built because it's all His, and number one, it's all His. But He just as well He gave it to you, He can take it away.
Yeah.
Just that fast.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. I drive down here today and start talking to y'all, and y'all are pretty young like me. And we start looking around, and then you're like, let's go hop on a podcast real quick. You know, it just bless me. I'm just blessed to be around people like y'all.
Heck yeah.
Have the same mindset.
Glad you can come down. What's one thing that whoever's listening right now that you would tell them? They're 21, they're 28. What's one thing that has changed your life that you would tell them right now?
One thing, stop what you're doing and start executing on what you want to do in your future, and seek God. Always seek God. That's number one.
That's so powerful, because it goes back to show you're sitting there and you're working that job, and you know that's not what you're meant to do. That's not your purpose. You've built your mindset so clearly and so good that when that opportunity does come, you automatically know that God's calling you to step into that next season. He doesn't necessarily want you to change, but He wants you to pivot into that next season. There's going to be more of those. Like for us, we used to look at a change as maybe a little bit harder, a difficult situation to go through, but that's actually when God's calling you up to pivot into His next opportunity that He wants for you to grow the kingdom.
And you say pivot into the next step He wants for you. And I've been seeking mentorship for quite a while now. And like I said, I got some mentors about 4 or 5 months ago. And now I walk in here and y'all are mentoring me. I'm like, what the heck? I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
You can't have $1 billion dream with a minimum wage habit. Let me say that again. You can't have $1 billion dream with a minimum wage habit. So get out what you're doing. I don't call people out, but I call people up for what God has called you to be. And today you heard it on the Young CEO podcast. Reese, thank you for coming down. I'm inspired for 21-year-olds because I used to be 21 not too long ago. And so I just love what you're doing. I love that you're starting out and you're executing. That's the biggest thing. And again, you can't have $1 billion dream with a minimum wage habit. So I see you stepping out. I see you stepping out what God has called you, which is His divine purpose, which is to call out and to go and make an impact in the world. Even with the rentals, with the businesses that you start, with the people that you can come in contact with, you can change your life. And God has called me and you, people like us, to go out there and shake hands, do business, make a lot of money, but it is to make an impact in this world. So glad I could get you on the podcast. I know this is going to bless a lot of people. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I'm going to do something for you. Just like I said in the beginning, drop trouble, like anything that you're going through your business right now, put it in the comments and I'll send you a personal DM. If you need help in your business, if you're stuck in your business, comment down below and I'd love to help you out. Thank you again. You're listening to the Young CEO podcast. See you on the next.
Let's go.
Let's go, bro.
God, I'm still counting my blessings.